Hi, and welcome to the Liberty Bells. I'm Suzanne Hamner.
And I'm Lynn Taylor, and welcome on this August Monday. We are going to be talking tonight, just the two of us, about is the HSLDA or Homeschool Legal Defense Association really our friend or are they another foe?
Oh, I think I can answer that question. I think they're another foe.
And why would you say that, Suzanne?
Because the former head of they got a new head now, but the former head of HSLDA was none other than Michael Ferris. And if anybody knows about Michael Ferris, he is the one that has proposed the parental rights amendments that a lot of these states, including Florida, have passed and codified into law that really doesn't protect your rights. It actually takes away your rights. And Michael Ferris also has, I do believe he is one of the people that is with parentalrights.org who is pushing for all these parental. I'll show you that website tonight.
Okay.
And he has also been a, shall we say, critic of our own Publius Huldah, Joanna Martin, who has spoken out against the parental rights amendments that he has been promoting that are absolutely deceiving parents into thinking they're getting something they're not.
Okay. And we also know that Michael Ferris does have ties to the former Trump administration. We
Yes.
also know that, you know, international homeschooling was put under an agreement that he participated in
Yep.
that was to further align it not to whatever country is being represented, but more to the global UN. We also
Yes.
know that HSLDA, under his leadership, has gotten in bed with Jeb Bush and the National School Choice Week, hence our yellow scarves, because after all, yellow is the color of National School Choice Week.
Yes, and I have my
Under his
famous
leadership,
trash bag scarf.
under his leadership, they not only came out in full support of dual
Yep.
enrollment, but career tech education, STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, and math, which of course we know is UN. Career
Right.
tech education is Common Core.
Yep.
So under his leadership, and we're not the only people who have called this organization out. We know that the NHELD, the National Homeschool Educators Legal Defense, headed up
Absolutely.
by Deborah Stevenson.
Yes.
She has done a lot of research as well into the tainted ties, not only of Ferris, but the entire HSLDA organization.
Yes.
So, by them having this new person come aboard, are they really going to continue down this aligned pathway, Suzanne, or are they going to maybe change and new leadership, new day? What do you think?
Well, let me just say what we know about the new leadership, and we're going to get into that, people, as to who this is. But he's also associated with parentalrights.org, which is Michael Ferris's organization. So that should tell you right there, if he's on board with that,
Right.
then he is not going to be your friend.
Right. And
Now I
so
got to
with
take the
that, we're
trash
going to
bag off.
take
I'm
in,
getting
we're
hot.
taking the scarves off. It's just too hot. It's
Too
August.
hot for that.
So we
Let me
unburdened
share
our,
my screen,
we
and we're
unburdened
going to show them
ourselves
who it
of
is.
that
Yes,
hype
that.
job.
Yeah. I
Yes.
tell you what. Let
Okay.
me show. I'm going to share my screen so everybody can see who the new head of HSLDA is, and I've got it pulled up right,
Okay. And we want to give a
right
shout
there.
out to the lady who tipped us off to this. Michelle is in New
Yes.
Jersey. And, she's a homeschooling mom and she's been very
Thank you,
concerned.
Michelle.
So, Michelle, we thank you so much for sending us
Yes.
this information. Now, not everything we'll show you tonight is from Michelle, but this
Right.
particular link is.
Yes.
And there
There he
is
is.
Mr. Mason.
James R. Mason, your new president of Homeschool Legal Defense.
Absolutely. Now, if you don't know who he used to be in the United States Navy. He served in Desert Storm. He got his law degree, I believe it is, oh goodness, I can't remember where he got his law degree, but I know he clerked in, I believe it was Oregon. And he's been with Homeschool Legal Defense for quite a while. So, supposedly he's been able to make all kinds of headway into making more choices for homeschooling. But I'm
Yeah.
sorry, you can't have more choices than homeschooling
Nope.
unless you're going to marry up to the system, which they did.
Yes, absolutely. That's why we call them out on that, because instead of saying, "Hey, hands off," they are saying, "Oh, let us come right along with you, and we'll
Right.
bring
So,
everybody along under the guise that we are helping them, but we're just going to deliver them into your hands."
right. And
Basically, is what it is.
here's the thing I've noticed. Betsy DeVos has been trotted back out, which
Mm-hmm.
we started covering that in what was it, 2020 or 2021, when
Yes, we
Fox
did.
brought her out of the mothballs,
Yep.
supposedly. And
Yep.
now what is she doing? She's making the rounds of the country with Corey DeAngelis, who is a lying little so and so,
Yes.
because they're both championing the fact that not only do we need to shut down the Department of Education, but we all need to get on the school choice bandwagon. Well, here you have a group that's saying, yeah, school
Yeah, let's
choice.
go.
Yeah,
School
yeah,
choice.
let's
Uh
go,
huh.
let's go, let's go.
She's also
And
partnering with Ron DeSantis too, because they were on that call for let's see, what was it? Michigan Kids Learn, or
yeah,
Learn for
the
Michigan or
sales
something.
pitch, the
Yeah.
sales pitch for why
Yeah.
education savings accounts are such a
Yes.
great thing. And you know as well as I do, we've done shows, we did in-depth webinars where we asked
Yes.
people to sign up and get the resources that prove that school choice was the death knell, not only to homeschooling but all private education, so that it
Yes.
could be shut down, rebranded as public, be
Yep.
handed to the nation on a platter for top down control, as well
Right.
as, if that wasn't bad enough,
Yep.
take away the representation vote of we the people.
That's right. And
And so this,
it starts with those regional school boards
well,
where they will be
absolutely.
appointed and not voted upon.
But what better time to trot a new head out for HSLDA than,
Then
oh,
now.
we've got Betsy DeVos and
That's
she's
right.
going for school choice, and school choice means homeschooling. And oh,
That's
yes, you can
right.
have the government tell you what to do with all those funds you think you're going to get.
And
Oh,
also, it's midterms.
that's my point. It's midterm. So this is
Midterms.
another grab
Yep.
by the supposed conservative side of the country. Now,
Yep.
when are people going to wake up, Suzanne, to understand that it doesn't matter if you're conservative or liberal? When it comes to school choice, everyone has you snowed because they're not giving you the information that we did, where we pointed to the
Mm-hmm.
actual pages that proved
Exactly.
what we've been saying.
And we've
And what
also
Charlotte
pointed to the
Iserbyt
Constitution.
Right, what Charlotte Iserbyt pointed out,
Yes.
what Anita Hogue has pointed out, what Sam Blumenfeld,
Yes.
so many people have pointed this out, and no one wants to listen because it's not the flavor of the month they want to hear. But
Well,
let
it
this,
requires them also to read, and it requires them
right,
to study, and it requires them to get into the law. And I know that can be very, very
right.
daunting, but
But
you have to,
if you're going
because
to
you have to
protect your
know.
if you're going to protect your family from all the wolves, not just the ones you
Hmm.
think are the wolves, but these guys are wolves. If you're going to protect your family from them, you have to know.
I
Now,
agree. And the first
the
step is knowing Declaration of Independence, Constitution, Bill of Rights.
Absolutely. We also need to understand that there are some serious questions about the pro Common Core support that HSLDA receives. And that's our next link. This is a map that someone has put together on Little Sis. And if you've not been to Little Sis before, the way this
There's
works is
little
you
sis.
click on the donors and it takes you to these maps so you can see these webs of how things are interconnected, people, entities, all those sorts of things. So
And look
go
here.
to if you go to American Encore, well, look at there, David and Charles Koch.
Right here.
Oh, Koch Enterprises,
Yep.
Common Core backers, and
Yep.
they're They're tied.
And look, $25,000.
Yep.
And look at this,
Alliance.
Alliance Defending
Mhm.
Freedom.
So if
Yeah.
you want, click on the interlock button and let's show folks what pops up.
The
And
H.
remember, this is on Homeschool Legal Defense. We did not put this together.
Nope, we
We
did not.
absolutely
It was
did
put
not.
together for us
Yes,
on Little Sis.
absolutely. Oh,
Look at
Convention of the
this.
States. Oh,
Oh,
there's a train wreck waiting to
look at
happen.
here. Yes, the moral majority. Here he is. Citizens for Self
Absolutely.
Government. Here he is. Alliance
Mm-hmm.
Defending Freedom. Here he is. Hello.
Yes. Now, this is again, this is not on the new leader, but
No,
remember,
this is
this
the
guy has
old.
been with HSLDA since 2001. So when you see Ferris's name, know that Mason is in that organization as
Yep,
well.
exactly. And I just find it interesting that um, look at Patrick Henry College. Now, aren't they touting themselves kind of like Hillsdale College as
But
a
Hillsdale is tainted
they're
because they're
tainted?
they're
Yes,
after charters,
yes.
and charters
So
are public-private
that's
entities.
right. Isn't Patrick Henry doing about the same thing at that
Oh,
point?
something
Aren't
like
they?
that. It
Okay.
absolutely is. But let's move on because
All
we
right.
have a show that we did that Tim and I did on Sons of Liberty, and
Learning loss on cash cow. I
this was
remember this show.
this was from earlier this year, and this connected HSLDA to a well-known Common Core machine entity called
Yes,
grade level reading. And if you
I
go to
remember
this,
that.
if you scroll down, you look at resources, the number one resource will show you
Oh
the link.
wow, he's got you got to
Yeah,
have a
he's got a
lot of
lot of stuff
stuff.
in here.
It was
All
a
right,
lot of.
keep
Here we
going. But
go.
there it is, number one, Harvard's
Graduate
Graduate
school.
School of Education.
There it
Note
is.
the Saul Zinsky reference in honorary of nod to a former filmmaker.
Yep.
So yes, that will absolutely. Oh no, not this one. No, 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 no.
It's
For
not
the
this one.
archives, number one, our resources for the archives. That was for the show. So
Oh,
keep
this is for
going.
the show.
Sorry, sorry. There it is. Let's see. We should have it.
I got
Back it up if you
back it up.
would.
Okay.
Keep going. Okay, no, that's for the show. Nope, keep going. It should be underneath the video.
Okay.
Keep going. Okay, there it is.
Resources for archive at
There it
home.
is. The 2021 article where Campaign for Grade Level Reading was involved in HSLDA's move to go for homeschooling.
And I've
And
got that one. Hang on. I've got that one
yes,
for
you should have
everybody
it.
right here. Here it is. I want everybody to see it. Here it is. Pot of gold at the end of the Fed's rainbow. Here it is.
And this was all about those education savings accounts.
That's
If
right.
I remember right, this
I
was
think
what that
so.
was.
Yes.
And again, we cannot be fooled by these education savings accounts, freedom scholarships, whatever name, tax vouchers, tax
Whatever they
credits.
want to call them.
Right. You just absolutely cannot.
That's right.
Okay.
And
Let's see here. Now, that particular article not only ties you to HSLDA, Suzanne,
yes.
but Brett Kavanaugh. And don't you remember that when we
Oh, I remember
said,
about
when
Brett
I did a show
Kavanaugh.
with Tim on Kavanaugh, we
Yep.
said then that Kavanaugh's ties to Jeb Bush were too suspect for him to be approved. And what happened?
That
He
he
was
got approved.
approved. So was Amy Barrett. And
That's
here's what's
right.
happened. Fast forward. We just had the Supreme Court decision on what? School choice. And
That's
guess
right.
what? Midterms. And it won.
Yes, it did. And
So you have way too many people who keep popping up in the same places for this
yep,
to just be a coincidence to
it's
throw the midterms.
no, it's not a coincidence. I
Right.
think it's
Absolutely.
orchestrated. I think it's
Absolutely.
orchestrated, planned, and has been for a while. And it
Yeah.
just took the right, shall I say, catalyst to kind of get
Hmm.
people on board with it. Unknowingly,
Absolutely.
they don't realize what they're on board with, and they're thinking it sounds good, and it does. Don't get me wrong, it sounds great. But what's that old saying? If it sounds too good to be true,
It
it
probably
usually
is.
is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, I did do an article back in May of 2020,
Hmm.
Suzanne, where I outlined the lies the HSLDA was giving to homeschoolers. So if we want to go there, let's look at that one for just a little bit.
In that little
Okay.
many big strings.
That's it. Okay. So this was all centered around the Harvard Anti Homeschooling Summit.
Yes.
And I was on a call when one of the HSLDA people, I think it was Donnelly, was
Okay.
on the call as well. And I called him to task on several of his points because even then, on that call that was supposed to be among homeschool friendly and supportive people, he was still trying to do the shuck and jive show. So
Oh
it
gosh.
goes on to tell you that this particular um, article will tell you that there has been all kinds of mixed messages. And if you keep going, you'll see here, Warriors, if you enlarge the screenshot, you'll be able to see Corey DeAngelis. Did you notice that he's in charge of school choice? Now, just before that tweet went out, he was part of the panel on disinformation stemming from this Harvard summit. Okay. And he's on there. Now, Harvard's hardly the only school to misinform you about homeschoolers. Now, these experts were Kevin Soling from Harvard's Ideology Diversity Group, Peter Gray from Boston College, we have Carrie McDonald from Cato, which, as you can see in red, guess what?
Yep.
They
The
support.
essays and school choice
And there's Corey. Reason,
foundation.
yeah, he's
Okay.
let's see here. Yeah, Reason, his foundation is open to choice at everything, but especially education. Then we have Patrick Farina, Mike Donnelly, of course, who sat
Brian.
there and said, okay, not only do I support every education savings accounts, but I support career tech education, STEM, dual enrollment, and told parents that Common Core
Wow.
was largely dead.
No, that's not true.
He also has an international arm and a board presence on a UN supportive home education group. And finally, Brian Connor, who's after personalized learning.
Isn't that special?
So you cannot tell me
You can't miss this. You cannot miss this, people. You cannot miss this.
Yeah.
Is not good.
Absolutely. Now, the next archive we want to show people, this one is the state that betrays you. That's that article. So if you want to, okay. Now there are going to be two pictures in this. I want folks to
And
see.
look,
One,
the video is gone because they terminated
oh
the
well,
liberty.
oh well.
Well, they
now,
struck us. So,
yes,
you know,
but
well,
here's
me.
if you can't see it, here's the description.
The
Secretary of
podcast is
State.
here.
Wait a minute. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is betraying the people of the United States, but he has help because HSLDA is also aiding that effort in homeschool community. Eyes need to be open, but it must take the Spirit of God to open them. And then this episode, Common Core diva Lynn Taylor exposes the continued globalist agenda in education via the Trump administration.
So
and
even
so
though
that's
they don't have the video, there is the podcast too,
right. And so we still have all those resources. But I want to, if we can, Suzanne, let's keep scrolling down.
Okay.
Because there are a couple of images I think that I included for Tim to use. Yep. Okay.
Here they are.
Look.
Here they are.
Students and congressmen do what?
Rally in DC for school choice, HSLDA.
Yes, this was on the internet for everyone to see. And if you scroll down just a tiny bit more, there it is again.
There it is
now,
again.
it was not long after this particular article and episode was aired that HSLDA decided to pull down the images so that you no longer saw them backing up the yellow scarf movement.
And look, do you see here? Look at that. What is that on these kids' necks?
Yellow scarves. Because it's
scarves.
National School Choice. And if
Oh,
you look
yellow
at
scarves.
National School Choice Week, Jeb Bush is all over it.
And you know HSLDA was all over it because look, here's their logo right here. Right there it is.
Yeah,
They
absolutely.
may have taken it down, but hey,
It's on my
screenshots are
blog.
forever.
It is absolutely on my blog, and it has not been taken down.
And here is Mike Pompeo.
Oh, I had.
Look at this. Did you have a field day with that? Because I know you did.
Did I ever? I fired back at him. I absolutely
Because
did.
I loved this because it's like The risk to children is not from homeschooling. The risk is from radical leftist scholars seeking to impose their values on our children.
Okay,
Well,
keep going. Keep scrolling down because
let me keep scrolling down.
yeah,
Okay, because
okay.
I got
That's the
something to say
data
about that.
mining. Okay,
Okay,
okay.
now,
Here is another tweet that Pompeo put out. Uh, and it says the professor's mission is simple to further the destruction
destruction
of the
of the
family
family
unit.
unit.
Okay. He keeps on going. And then here comes Alex, my buddy, under the leadership of U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. The U.S. State Department has continued the Obama era policy on forcing militant LGBT agenda down the throats of foreign nations and peoples. And I give you the site for that. But
Yeah,
now
and here you
here
are.
comes my tweet. Okay, so Pompano put his out about how homeschooling, the radical leftists and blah, 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 blah. And here's what I wrote. Educratic doublespeak, Secretary. I've researched the U.S. State Department and your stance on STEM. What university did you see below? Harvard. And
Harvard.
by the way, how many years did you homeschool? STEM is United Nations and Secular Humanism. Link to my blog so you can see you're selling us out.
I started to say they pointed out radical leftist scholars, but hello, they are trying to say, hey, we're on your side and we're wanting this. They're doing the same thing. They're just doing it a different
Well,
way.
of course. Okay. But see, here's the thing. If you're going to subscribe to the left right,
Well,
the left
yes,
is
no left, right.
what they're up to because they're vocal. The
That's right.
right's going to sit over here and hide it because they
Mm-hmm.
don't want to be seen as controversial.
What is that about the enemy within the gate? What is
I don't know. I really don't.
Bradley and Tib talk about it, but I cannot think of the. Is
Right.
it?
So we'll
Don't
have,
worry about the enemy outside the gate. Beware the enemy
yeah,
inside the gate. Because he
absolutely.
talks and looks like you, and so it's easy to.
But
Oh,
all these articles are going to be
I
in
got a mark. Yes,
the
that'll be the archive,
archive,
so you can
and
absolutely.
absolutely, because, and now the reason I want us to point up to the Christmas presents, because this
Yes,
dates back to when Obama signed ESSA into law. He called it an early Christmas present. This was his quote. This is an early Christmas present. After more than 10 years, the members of Congress from both parties have come together to revise our national education law, a Christmas miracle, a bipartisan bill signing right here. That was the 10th of December, 2015.
and
Now,
that was not a gift. That was
hidden
one.
in those presents, and why I chose this picture were the very same things HSLDA is saying are okay for homeschoolers are early college, dual enrollment, apprenticeships,
Mm-hmm. All geared
gifted
for
students,
post-secondary
special
education.
needs. Okay,
Birth to first.
absolutely. Yeah, so this is the gift that keeps on aligning. That's what I called
Yes.
it because
Oh yes.
it as we've said, it goes after every educational option out there.
That's it. And there is nowhere. It's like you can run, but you can't hide from this.
So you have an organization that's going to sit here and say, okay, families, for $100 a year, I'm going to protect you from all those awful evils out there. And yet on the other side, send you right into the fire with them because they're propping them up.
Exactly. I mean, it's the ultimate deception.
Okay, now here's where you can tie HSLDA to that global entity that I was telling you about.
Yes.
It's the Global Home Education Exchange, and they have declared certain portions of the UN's Declaration of Human Rights as their foundational platform.
Now, let me just say something about the UN Declaration of Human Rights. And people should know the UN gives you squat, nothing. Rights come from God. All the UN needs to say is, hey, you've got God given rights. We recognize those. That's it. That's all. They shouldn't even be writing down anything because they do not give rights. They should not even be involved in that because God gives rights. I don't care what they say. When they say and they start talking about the UN Declaration of Human Rights, what they're actually saying is, yeah, we're going to support this as a way to trample on your rights because that's what
Right.
always happens.
Absolutely. Okay. Now, our question that we still have not answered: will
Yes.
Mason continue to prop all this garbage up, or will he actually turn a page? Because what
Oh,
I found
I want to
was
hear your
okay.
answer on that. I've got my own, but I want to hear what you say.
But before he was tapped for HSLDA's president, he gave an article on Trump's historic UN speech.
Oh,
And I
wait a
want,
minute. Is this
I,
it? Do I got the wrong one?
no, this is it.
This is
Yeah,
it?
because,
Okay.
yeah, it says here it should help persecuted homeschoolers. Okay, now,
Okay.
first of all, here you have a president who said, I'm going to stop Common Core. Didn't do it. Here's
Nope.
a president who said, I'm going to end the massive data mining on students. Didn't
Didn't
do
do
it.
it.
And here's the one who said, I'm going to get us out of the UN. He pulled out one or two tiny funding streams from the UN and then said, victory, I've got us out of the UN.
Nope.
Nope, he didn't do it. But
Nope.
here he was in front of the United Nations giving a speech on expanding religious freedom and the rights of the people.
Mm,
And the
mm.
same man signed the USMCA, which took away so much of
So
our
much
freedom.
freedom. Can you say speaking out of both sides of your mouth?
And he goes on to tell you that governments, suppress homeschooling and, all kinds of stuff. And then here we have it. Trump was joined by none other than Vice
Vice
President
President
Mike
Pence.
Pence, Mr. Career Tech Education himself, Pompeo, and the UN Secretary.
Yep. Right there.
And they're all saying the United States is founded on the principle that our rights do not come from government, they come from God. Trump said the immortal truth is proclaimed in our Declaration of Independence, enshrined in the First Amendment of a constitutional Bill of Rights. Then answer me this, Suzanne. Excuse my
Hmm.
French, why the hell did he do everything he could to pee on that Constitution and sell us down the river while he was in office?
Because he was bought and paid for.
He did a
He was
worse
bought
job of
and
selling
paid
us
for.
down the river than Obama did. And Obama got us pretty far down the river.
He did. But now you got to remember, Trump was in. Hush. I'm not even going to put this nicely. He was in bed with the bankers because how many times did he file bankruptcy? How many times was he bailed out by all of that? So he was in bed with them. So yeah,
Now,
he's going to
right,
do what they want to be done.
right. Now,
He
this
was bought and paid for.
particular article that Mason wrote, if you get towards the end of the article, you will see him propping up government regulation of homeschoolers. There
Yep.
should not be any, but he's
Yep.
saying it's okay.
Yeah, and we know that's not okay because according to our Constitution, government has no place in education because it is not one of the enumerated powers of government.
Uh,
Has
anyway,
no place in it. I know it
anyway,
makes you want to puke, doesn't it?
it does. Now, another article that he did was that homeschool freedom
It's
is
good
good
for
for
children.
children. Now, if you look at the sources that Mason is citing, Suzanne, they're not free of common core.
Of
Why, if
course not.
someone was so interested in protecting your homeschool family, would they cite sources that are part of the problem?
Because they're confusing people intentionally.
Because a mom and dad are going to read this. They're going to say, oh, yes, this
Oh,
is from a
this is
trusted
fine.
source. And
Yeah,
oh, and look at all these entities that they're talking about. Oh, so these must be good too.
right.
That's helping them sell their kids out
Sure.
not only to the massive data mining,
Oh,
but
yeah.
to this college a cradle to grave garbage.
That's right. And that's what it's all about. I mean, that is exactly what it's all about. You get them early and you get them in that system. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
Jennifer was talking about on Saturday night. If anybody didn't see that Saturday night special that we have with Jennifer McWilliams, if you haven't seen it yet, go back and watch that because she really had an insider's view and she was talking about the scores. The
Mm-hmm.
scores, the more you can score them and do, the better off you are. So that's it's all about scoring your kids.
Right. Now, I can't remember, Suzanne, you might want to scroll down just a little bit,
Okay.
but I wanted folks to see some of the sources that were cited. Keep going, please, if you would.
Well, I can't get to the whole
Oh, you
article.
can't get to the whole, okay, sorry.
No, because
Okay.
I yeah, because this is National Review, and I didn't join
Oh,
NAR
gotcha.
Plus. So
Okay.
it
All right.
won't
Well,
give it to
my
you.
mistake. Okay. But
YouTube.
through all this, we've already tied Trump,
Yep.
DeVos, Kavanaugh.
Yep.
Um, how about William Barr?
Here he is.
How about William Barr and
There he
Ronald
is.
Reagan?
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
they
they're
were
in
right
there
in there
too.
too.
They are in there too.
And a lot of people still are singing Reagan's praises, and that's great if you haven't looked into what happened during
Right,
Reagan's presidency. But when you go back and you look at what happened, you'll realize, wait a minute, that wasn't so great after all.
right.
And we got snookered on that too.
Well, the
So,
reason why I wanted to bring Barr into this is because he, according to this article,
yes.
was the reason Brett Kavanaugh was put on the Supreme Court.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Mm-mm. Wow.
So if that doesn't tell you something, and I could hear Johnny right now
I
going,
started to say, I was,
I can hear him right now. Roman Catholics, Roman
that's
Catholics. We
what I
told
was
you, we
saying.
told you.
That's what I was saying. I said, when I saw this, when I read this and I saw, and they described Bill Barr as a conservative Catholic. And
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, Johnny would have a field day with this. Johnny would have a
Uh,
field day with this because there's probably no such thing.
I know, but let's move on. Now,
All
the
right.
next one we're going to, this is the Trump business map.
Oh my
And this
goodness. I'm
thing
telling you,
is absolutely
it's out of
nebulous
control.
beyond belief. Now,
It's out of control. I mean, to even read some of this, you have to absolutely, and you can see how this is. You have to absolutely hit your control button and move your scroll wheel
you would
and blow
spend
it
so
up.
much time trying to find the people that we're talking about tonight. You
Yep,
absolutely would. And they might be in there, but one I know for sure is Betsy DeVos. And
right
if
over
you will
here.
click on Betsy, this will give you
And
everyone
look at this.
she's tied to.
Yeah, let me blow this up because you've
Yeah.
got to see this. You've got
Yeah.
to see who else she is.
Mm-hmm.
She is absolutely. Look at this. Let me see if I
Yeah.
can move it over just a bit so we can. All right, Betsy DeVos, Foundation for Excellence in Education,
Mm-hmm.
Library of Congress Trust Fund. And she's a board member of that. But look, chairwoman, co-founder, former board member, former chairwoman, elder board, former director, former member. I mean, it's just on and on.
Absolutely is.
And
Now,
I mean, it's just, she has got her little hand into so much stuff.
well, she and her family make money off of the student data binding. Why wouldn't
Yeah,
she want school choice?
absolutely.
And,
It would
again,
benefit
begs the
her.
question if she's going to sit out here now at midterms and go, oh, shut the Department of Education down, why didn't she do it in Trump's uh, era? Because,
Exactly. She was over it,
she,
wasn't she not? She was
she bought her
headed.
seat for $2 million.
That's
I
right.
think you could clean house if you wanted to for that price.
I would think so. I would think so. But that's
Absolutely.
not what
Well,
happened.
Barr might be in there. Some of the HSLDA crew might be in there as well. Now, one of the things that Mason loves, especially because of COVID, is the fact that pod schools are now part of the alternative for homeschoolers to join. And the reason why I wanted to bring that up tonight, Suzanne, was because um, no,
For everybody who doesn't know, explain a pod school.
I'm getting there if my
Oh,
little
good, good,
I'm
good.
getting
I
there
knew
if my
you.
little phone will wake up
Ah,
and come with me. But yeah, you've got just I don't know how you would search for some of the names or some of the groups, but it's just, and this is how much influence. And what have we seen happen since some of the midterms are now coming back, Suzanne?
yeah.
Trump back candidate wins. Not
Yep, I've
Donnie
seen that all
won,
over
not
the.
Susie won, but
No.
Donald Trump's candidate won. Why are
Yep.
we giving so much credence to this man?
I don't know, but I have noticed every headline there is Trump backed candidate wins in Arizona, and then they'll give the name. But
Oh,
you get
yeah.
always Trump first.
I'm sorry. If I'm
Always
going to
Trump
win an
first.
election, I want my name as, hey,
Right.
I won.
That's exactly right.
Not,
It has nothing to
not,
do with Trump.
not this, criminal. No.
Exactly.
Okay. So terms like choice of charter schools, the definitions remain the same as in previous administrations. This was under the lockdown, okay? But the
Yes.
CDC is now advocating for school sleepovers, pod hangouts, and pod schools. Well, what does this have to do with educating children? Nothing, because it's like we've said before. They're usurping the Constitution to take liberties and indoctrinate your family. Now, it goes on to tell you, and I'm trying to find my articles, dear. A
That's
pod
okay.
school would be like, okay, in my neighborhood, I'm opening up my little house and I'm going to let your family and a couple of other families come in, and that's our little pod. And we're going to do all these learning activities, and we're going to do it through the public school system.
Okay. So that would be
How's that
considered a pod
homeschooling?
school.
How
That's
is that
not.
homeschooling?
It's not.
It's
You're
not.
you're connected to the public system by an umbilical cord.
Okay, so it says here families grapple with changing education environments. Some hope to find flexibility, safety, and community in small little learning arrangements called learning pods.
Oh gosh,
Now,
almost sounds like
Mason
you're in a
thinks those
family
are
of
good for
whales.
homeschooling. Well, honey, when you're using the public school
Hmm.
resources, and let's
Yeah,
face it,
there's that.
homeschoolers love a bargain. I was
Of
one for
course they
23
do.
years. I know you love a bargain. But when it says free or it's low cost and it's a throw out of the public school system, or it's got Common Core branded all over it, or it's got the SDGs, or it's got the career tech garbage, you're not getting something for nothing.
That's so true. You're paying for it in another way. You may not be paying monetarily, but you're paying for it in another way.
Right. Well, micro schools are another alternative that Mason supports, and those are tied to Bill Gates. So
Oh, how
again,
nice.
these particular alternatives, Suzanne,
Yeah, they're
whether
not alternatives at
it's
all.
Ferris or Mason, they're not changing the narrative to support true homeschooling.
So my question is, if they're not doing that, how can they call themselves the Homeschool Legal Defense Association? Isn't that a misnomer?
Because they have a salesman's job to do.
Oh, gotcha, gotcha. Okay.
And they also charge families, hardworking families who do nothing but want to protect their families. Now, the reason why I
Now,
never
weren't
joined,
in the HSLDA a nonprofit? Isn't it a 501c4 or something
I
like
don't know
that?
what it is, but the point of
Okay.
it is that you have InHeld, which is a much less known
Right.
defense group for
Yep.
homeschoolers that is doing the job it should do, which is not telling you, oh, yes, let's go sign up for all this government garbage. Let's
Yep.
go get in the indoctrination mix. They're saying, no, here are your choices. Here's how we can help you. Here's how we can protect you. And I've had conversations with Deborah, and she's very concerned about the misdirection that for so many years, this one particular group has given our nation.
Yep.
And the last resource that we want to show folks is that
Yes.
Hillsdale College, which you talked about earlier, that
Yes,
wants
I
to do
did. And
nothing
what did I
but
do
prop
with it?
up charter schools, is a bosom buddy of HSLDA, and they both were behind in full support of that horrible For the People Act, or
Right,
HR
this one.
1.
This is the one.
Yeah.
This is the one.
Yeah, that one's been taken down as well, but that's okay
That's
because
okay. You got the
again,
podcast.
you have the podcast, you have all the links, but
That's
it goes
right.
on
Right
to
here.
tell you that they were both in support. And part of the problem with HR1 was that it was going to have massive amounts of data mining. It was going to lower the voting age to 16, which we've
Yes,
seen happen across the globe.
that's right.
It's going to do all kinds of things to go after the Every Student Succeeds Act. And here you have two of the supposed freedom loving groups,
Yep.
and they're in full support.
And this just, I mean, this is just people just, yeah, it makes your head want to explode, but
Okay,
you
look at
just got
here.
to get through it.
Right here. HSLDA has joined forces with the likes of Hillsdale has also
Hillsdale.
joined forces with the likes of HSLDA to promote School Choice Week, which is ironically this week.
Oh wow, yeah. That's why we
And then
got
I
the yellow
also gave
scarves.
you an article in there, Suzanne, that I
Yes,
did about the adult charter schools. So if you think charters and all this is reserved for K through 12, no,
it's not. We're
because
talking
you
about that.
can't have a workforce nation of partially educated populations. You have to go cradle to grave. And
This
to
is
do
true.
that, you have to rope the adults in. So, yeah, you're going to
This,
see more adult charters pop up as well.
yep. And I
So,
wanted to. We wanted
you
to.
had some other things as well.
Yes, I want to. We want to shift everybody to the Liberty Bell site.
Oh,
Yes, I changed. Look, yay!
yes,
We
you
got our new
did.
logo. We got our new logo
Yep.
up.
Now we are missing a couple of shows. Let's go
We
ahead
are.
while we're on air. We are
Yes,
missing an interview that I did with Brandy Ann from Florida. And we were
yes.
talking not only education, but we were talking about the usurpation by local governments and harassment of law enforcement in pulling citizens off of their property and forcing
Yes.
them out of their homes and their businesses. And we've got to get that particular
Interview
episode
up on Rumble, but I think it's
because
still up on
I think
Facebook. It
it's
is
on
on
our,
Facebook.
I think it is, but the point of it is if you've not seen it, you have to,
Go
because
see that
what
one.
Brandy
Hmm.
Ann was pointing out is happening everywhere, more and more across this
That's
nation.
right.
And it's to get you out of your home because you can't be a private property owner.
That's right. So this was the show that we did, social and emotional learning,
That was this
creating
past
generational
Saturday.
victims. This was our Saturday night special with Jennifer McWilliams. So I want to point everybody here. And then
Mhm.
this is the show that we did, Shattering the Illusion of School Choice during National School Choice Week. That was in January.
Yes, and we had our
Yes.
scarves
We had our
on.
scarves on. Yes, we did. Then we had the So You Think You Know School Choice introduction. That was the one that we did before we did our webinar that we did.
Right.
And I want everybody to know you can still get that information. You can still get it. It's a $5 donation to commoncorediva.com. All you need to put in there is school choice. What was it? SCTLB, I think.
It
It
was
was
SCLB 420.
420. That's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
SCLB
Yeah.
420. There you
Yeah.
go.
And the
So
suggested donation is five
it's
dollars. If you want
$5.
to contribute more, it would help our continue our research.
Yes.
But there is a PayPal link on commoncorediva.com where you could just type in SCLB 420 and that we
And
can get
that'll,
that to you.
yes. And if you
Oh, we
do
need to
not want
leave
to
an
do
email.
PayPal, yeah,
You have to
you have
leave your
to,
email because
that's
it's a
right.
file that needs to be emailed to you.
And it's a
And
big file.
it will have all the documentation so that you can go to the page numbers where you can see the agenda for school choice, not only to eradicate your vote, but
Okay.
to kill all forms of private education.
That's right. And if you don't want to do PayPal, you can send an email to the Liberty Bells 2021 at gmail.com. Put in the subject line School Choice LB 420 webinar. And we'll give you instructions if you want to send a check or money order. We'll give you instructions on how to do that and where to send it to.
And the reason why we are promoting this is not to make money, but to give you this information, especially with
Mm-hmm.
school choice being so much of the flavor of the midterms. We've got to wake these parents up, these leaders who are leading us in the wrong
That's it.
direction. And we have to hold these people accountable. And if you don't have the documents to do that, then you're not going to win this battle.
And another resource that I want everyone to have, which this is Publius Holdaw's
Oh, yes, you mentioned
website.
that Mike went
Yes,
after her.
yes, Michael Ferris
Okay.
went after her. And this was when she was writing for Freedom Outpost, and she wrote something on what Michael Ferris was doing on, and she goes through all of that in her blog. And this is it's publiusholda.wordpress.com. I'll have that link in the description box and in the archives so you can take
Okay.
a look at it. She even talks about parentalrights.org, parental rights amendment. We go through Michael Ferris and the Convention of the States, plus
Which
parental
is a
rights.
dangerous
He is in all
yeah,
of that. He
yeah.
is
It's
sitting
it's
in
very
all of
dangerous.
that. All of that. So
Absolutely.
please, and she's got a wealth of information on
Now,
where
do
you
you
can learn.
also have the broadcast we did with her on the ruse of the parental rights bills that are
I will put it in
circulating?
there because if you'll go down here, the Liberty Bells Nuke Parental Rights Amendment with constitutional attorney Joanna Martin,
There
who
we
is
go.
Publius Holda, and we got over 1,000 views on that.
Wow,
So
that's
because that was
wonderful.
fantastic, it
So
was a great
we're
show with her.
waking folks up, and that's
Yes,
our
that's what
whole
we
goal
want.
is to wake you up so that you can,
Yes,
as you say, affect change.
that's right. Because we're shoveling the educratic BS for you, so you don't have
So
to.
you don't have to.
Yes. But we're giving you the information that you can arm yourself with and take right in there.
Excellent.
Also, here is the parentalrights.org. I've put that, I'm going to have that in the description box and in the archives so you can absolutely watch. This is a 1.5 minute video, and I didn't pull it up in order to be able to
Okay.
do it. I mean, I can right now if you want to. We can
It's
do it.
fine, but we
But
need to
please watch
preface
this. I want people to watch this. It's
what we need
incredible.
to yeah, we need to preface though, we are not anti-parent.
No, we are not
We
anti
are
parent.
absolutely behind the parents. We want you to have your rights, but you don't need government
Government
telling
getting
you what
into
your
it.
rights are or
No,
groups
that's
that
right.
are pushing the government to tell you
What
what
your
to
rights
do.
are. That's right. Because we've already seen what's going on in Florida and the other states that have adopted these parental rights
Well,
amendments
look at the other countries
that have done this. Yeah,
that
they have.
have done this very same
Hmm.
thing and look at the pickle that they
That
are
they're in.
in.
That's right. So,
Because what you do is you put yourself in such a position under
right.
such scrutiny and control that you actually put your family at risk of being taken from you,
That's
not
right.
uh, further protecting of your children.
That's right. And that's what people need to understand. Um, what was it? Was it the? I want to say it was. It's the state of Georgia, uh, state where I live, that even though there's no evidence of neglect, abuse, or anything of that nature, I do believe there is a law that says, "Hey, if you are physically disabled, we can take your kids." But you didn't know
Well,
that.
think about the Department of Education and their
Yeah,
family ambassador
that's
programs.
right.
If you're not meeting those government assigned outcomes,
Yes, they can
guess
take your
what?
kids. They'll
They
take
can
your
give you
kids.
services, they can
That's right.
intervene, they
That's
can
right.
remove, they can do all kinds of things, and you're letting them.
That's it. So we're gonna have to get back to the basics, and we're gonna have to stand on our, I guess what we would call organic law, God's law, that says, hey,
Right, because
we're
he's the one
entrusted
who
by God with children.
right, he's the one
He
who made you
instructs
a
us.
parent.
That's
So
right.
you don't need the government's
Nope.
permission, you certainly don't need the government's money. Well, now,
That's
Suzanne, do we
right.
have anything else to show the audience?
I think that's it, but I wanted to make
Okay.
sure that to let everybody know
All
that
right.
Ms. Publius, Joanna Martin, she addressed parentalrights.org in her writings. Plus, she also talked about the NHELD in this in
Oh, inhaled.
Inhaled. Yes, she did. She talked about Inhale. So I'll
Okay.
both of these I'm going to put in the description box and in the archive so that you'll be able to find it. Um, and of course, this will be when the video goes up on
Mm-hmm.
Rumble, BitChute, YouTube, and I'll also send it to Sons of Liberty Media so that it will be in the archive there and it will be in the description box. But anything by Publius Hulda on her blog is a great resource to help you get started understanding what the
Mm-hmm.
Constitution is all about and how some of these issues relate to the Constitution, if they relate at all, and how the Constitution actually speaks to it. But you're going to have to do the thinking in order to apply it. It's not just going to
Absolutely.
jump out at you, but you've got to think about it. And
Okay.
helps guide you to do that. She takes it article by article. She goes through the amendments. She goes through those, and then
Look
there
at
are
all that that's tied to this. Oh my
oh,
goodness.
right.
That's insane.
Look at all this. Yeah,
So this
this
woman has clearly done her research.
absolutely. Look at this. She has absolutely done her research.
Okay, very good.
So
Well,
she
if we're
is
through with
excellent.
sharing
We are.
resources, then we can go back to full screen and close out the
Yes, we
show.
can. Yes, that we certainly can. So that's all
All
we have,
right.
and that's a lot of information I know in a short amount of time.
It absolutely is. Now, I
But
want to give a heads up for next week. I'm going to be having a pre record session with a gentleman out of, I believe it is Ohio, or maybe it's Illinois. I have to go back and check.
mm,
His name is Josh, and
okay,
he's a little bit younger than we are. But the reason why I wanted him to be a guest on Liberty Bells is
hmm,
because a lot of times when we have guests, they're either our age or a
yes,
little older.
right.
Jennifer was clearly younger than you
Yes,
or
she was.
I,
But Betty, she is a
and
top
she is,
notch
and
brain.
Josh is going to be coming at the. He's coming to the table with the perspective of a 40 something dude, 40
Okay,
something year old dude
okay,
in a society that he sees changing before him like he's never seen it before. I've been on his show. We've talked education. He's going to come
okay,
on our show. We're going to talk
okay,
societal changes,
okay.
and we'll probably touch on education and healthcare, but I'm going to pre-record.
Is that next?
Suzanne will not be able to join us
No.
that we know of. So I will be pre-recording. It will not be a live. It will be an archived version when we can get it released. But I wanted to let you know we are having a guest next week. It will be a conversation you don't want to miss because so many people are saying, well, all these young people, they don't care. They don't care. Well, I found one who actually
Who actually
does.
does? And I just want everybody to let everybody know these next 6 weeks for me are going to be slamming. I'm going to be out of town for a week, taking my mother to Ohio for a week, and then we're coming back, and then we're going to do another rapid turnaround. So, I mean, we're good, but I will be. We're pre-recording, I think, on the 29th,
Yes.
aren't
We're
we?
going to
With
have Johnny Cerrucho.
yeah. Johnny is an awesome guest.
He
Awesome, awesome
is.
guest. So we're going to pre-record a show with him on the 29th of August. I'll
But
be there for that.
we'll air it that
We'll air it that
evening.
evening.
Yeah.
Yes. So it'll be there.
Now, are we going to
Um,
give color commentary too while we do the live?
you know we do. You know we do.
I don't
You know
think
we do.
I don't think it'd be a show for him if we didn't. So
Exactly, right? Hey. And then,
okay.
if I'm not mistaken, we're not going to have a show on Labor Day on that Monday, but we are doing the Saturday night special
And
on the
our
second.
special guest is going to be Lisa Logan. She's a
Yes,
young mom from
yes,
California, and so she's going to be joining us. She's a buddy of Jen McWilliams, so
yes. It's
that's
going to be a
really good.
fabulous
Yeah,
Saturday night special. I'll be there for
absolutely.
that. So I'm trying to, I'm working my schedule a little bit more But yeah, so but like I
But in the
said, we're in
meantime,
the
you'll be
meantime
stuck with
we'll be.
me. So,
No, nobody is stuck with you. You are the brains. I'm just the. You're the
okay.
brains. You're the brain. Well, actually, no. We each
We
bring a
kind of
little
both
something
are.
different
Yeah.
to the
I was going to
table.
say that
So
you're a team for a reason.
that's
That's
exactly
it.
right. We each have
Yeah.
different
But we
talents that we
have, yeah,
bring.
we have guests. We have some guests. We
Yes.
have some topics lined up. So we're
Yes.
going to keep going. But we wanted to let you know that for convenience, 6:30 right now, 6:30
Yes.
p.m., whether it's the Saturday night special or the Monday evening show, is going to be much easier for us because
Yes.
we're both facing a lot of upheaval in the
That's
next few
right.
weeks. And we want to be consistent. We know we've got an audience. We want to stay with you. We want to keep you informed, but
Yes.
that's what's going to work for us. Our ultimate goal not only is to get that Walk Through Pilgrim's Progress back going,
Yes.
which you can
Yes.
still sign up for, that's
Don't forget about
$25.
yes.
Yeah, you can sign up for that and we'll get that started, but we don't know when. But, oh goodness, I lost my train of thought.
Oh, that's okay. It happens to me all the time. I did it
Oh,
coming
our
home
goal
today.
is not only to, yeah, I got it. Not only to get the Walk Through Pilgrim's Progress study going, because remember, that's 14 weeks of fun,
Right.
but we want to get back to our other broadcast time, which was Monday mornings,
Or
so that
Thursday morning. Was it
no,
Monday or
it's Thursday. It was Thursday
Thursday
mornings.
mornings at
Yes, it was
11?
Thursday. I'm so sorry. Yes, it
That's
was
okay.
Thursday mornings at
Yeah, we
11.
want to get back to that.
We want to get back to that because we know that a lot of you really had much more time during the day than you
Mm-hmm.
do during the evening. But we were going
Yes.
to keep so when we do that, we go back to our old schedule. We'll then shift the Saturday show back to its old time of 7
Of seven
p.m.
o'clock. Yeah.
So but that's not right now. That's in
Yep.
the future.
But we switched it to evening so that I could have more time in
Right.
order to be able to do what I have
And
to do
that's
for my
fine.
mom.
That's
So
fine. But
yeah.
things are changing. They absolutely
Yes,
are.
and they're
So,
changing very fast, and it's
yes,
sometimes
they
hard to
are.
keep up with. But we'll try to keep you informed as best we can. So, and don't forget, catch Lynn Wednesday mornings, Sons of Liberty Media, 6 a.m. Tim Brown, right into the core Wednesday.
All right. Till
So,
next time.